Good morning. It feels like a lifetime that I've been live here on Facebook. So welcome. It's so lovely to see you. And today is a rather special day because I'm not just going live by myself. I am bringing one of my very lovely masterminders, I should say, which is Roline from For Luxury Events. So, Roline, would you just like to introduce yourself first of all?
Hi, yes, certainly. Thank you, Bernadette, for having me on today. Hello, everyone. My name is Roline, and I am the wedding planner and owner for our luxury events, which is a full planning boutique based. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous, guys. Please forgive me.
Oh, thank
A
you.
full service wedding planning company based in Manchester. So I also specialize in social events as proposals, engagements, birthday parties, and I also do destination weddings in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Yes, and isn't it interesting? We were talking about Turks and cakes last week, I think, wasn't we? Because I discovered one of my earliest chats with Roline back in 2018. And when she was originally talking to me about training to be a wedding planner, and she's done amazingly well, which we're going to tell you about shortly. But you mentioned that actually when you were still living in Turks and Caicos, you were even kind of watching me then, weren't you?
Yes, I was. I think at the time where I was still, at the early stage of my business or early stage of, becoming a wedding planner, I was referred by another company, but then I started doing my own research just to see what was out there. And then I came across I think your blog post, and I just was going through every blog post. I spent like hours just reading through them. And then I eventually signed up for your newsletter. And every time I kept getting all the information, I was like, you know what, this is for me. This is definitely for me. And once I moved to the UK in 2017, I still stayed in contact reading your blog post. And then eventually in 2018, I think I reached out just to do a session with you. So yeah, that's how the journey of me and you started from
I
my
know.
end.
It's the reason I wanted to mention it today, actually, as a kind of like a side note to what we're going to be talking about, is I think sometimes people can feel disheartened when they are doing their marketing, whether it's their social media or their blog posts or whatever, and they feel that nobody is interacting and they feel that they're just talking to themselves. Whereas actually, in many cases, people are watching. They just
Yeah.
may not be ready to commit yet, but
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you can't still help them in so many other ways. And I
Absolutely.
think it's a really good reminder. And actually, this happens a lot with me. So this isn't unusual where I have people that will be connected to me for a number of years until they're in such position where they are ready to proceed. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. But for those of you that are watching live, if you can just come and say hi, that would be lovely. And then likewise, if you're watching the replay, just put in #replay. As with all of the discussions I do, whether it's on this business or the UKWP, I encourage interaction. If you've got any questions you want to ask me, please feel free to do so. Likewise, any questions you want to ask Roline, she'll tell you a little bit at the end how you can get in contact with her if you want to ask some questions more privately. You can absolutely do that as well. But the reason for our discussion today is we're talking about creating scale, aren't we? So creating scale, my 6-month business mastermind, which is the first mastermind that I have hosted. And I was very excited about that. And you were part of my first cohort, and we've just come to the end. So what made you decide to enroll on Creating Scale?
Okay. For this year, 2023, I really wanted to up level myself personally and as a business owner. And I felt like I needed some sort of direction, I needed clarity, and I needed to know how to get to that level. And again, staying connected with your newsletter has helped because the minute I saw it, at first I was hesitant because of the pricing, but you reassured me that, you know what, working together and what you want to achieve will be done together. So it was so great for actually join the Create and Scale Mastermind, which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
and I was so happy that you joined in. You know that I've got a lot of love for you, and I think you're an amazing entrepreneur, and I can just see amazing things in your future, and that you have. The thing is, you've had that tenacity, and you've always worked hard, and you've always implemented. And this is, kind of like a side point, that it's really important to implement what you're learning, and whether that's a course, whether it's one-to-one, or whatever it is you're doing, it's really important that you are implementing so that you can move forward. And you've always done that,
Yeah, thank you.
which I think is brilliant. So, do you want to talk about when you joined Create and Scale, sort of what stage of business were you at? And then what's, what's your plans for the future? I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, but what stage of business were you at before joining? And then talk to us more about, why you were joining and what you're hoping to get from it.
Yeah, certainly. Well, at the moment, before joining, I'm just 2 years into my business. So in January 2023, I celebrated my second year anniversary. So, but I've been in the industry for nearly 11 years, working from Turks and Caicos, where we did a lot of destination weddings, and I worked
Mhm.
with other companies. But for me personally, as a business owner and wedding planner, doing it myself, it's been 2 years. And for the first 2 years, of course, they always say that, the first 3 to 5 years is the hardest.
Yes.
It has been, especially when, you're putting so much out there and you're not getting anything in return. And
Mhm.
that's one of the reasons why I decided I needed to get more training. I needed to have a mentor or coach to be there to actually guide me and direct me on what needs to be done, and look from the outside and see what I'm doing that isn't working, and then what I need to do to progress and to scale. So since joining, it has been, I can see the change. I feel the change because everything that we went through, because we talk about strategies, we talk about mapping out the whole year. I've never done that before. The first year, I didn't map out anything. I would just do it month by month. But now I have an understanding of how to map out my content, how to map out my business plan, so that way I know I'm still on top of things. Before, I didn't have that kind of strategy in place.
Yeah.
Operation, learning how to, ensuring I'm also working in the business and on the business is also key. Most of the time we're working, is it on the business where you're doing more clients work, but then you're not working within, getting training, working
Mm.
on your marketing and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and that can be really common with creatives. So whether you're in the wedding industry, whether you are, an artist, but if you are a creative in your very soul, it can be very easy to get sucked into that, because we've entered this industry because we've got this deep desire to serve, to
Mhm,
really help our clients,
mhm.
um, and also to do what brings us joy, which is to
Yeah.
do the creative aspect. And I think what a lot of creators struggle with is the strategy, because that isn't fun.
Yeah.
Mapping out goals doesn't
Yeah.
bring the joy.
Yeah.
And so it could be oh so easy to slip into the serving of your clients and the creating, that you actually forget about the work that needs to be done in order to scale,
Yeah.
which is the strategy. I mean, I even have members that shudder each time I use the word strategy, because they just don't like that word at all. Um, but that's part of it. Of course, in order to succeed in this industry, you need to be creative, but actually you need to have that strategy behind you as well,
Yeah.
in order for you to know how it is that you can scale. And I've always said, with every single thing I've done in all my years supporting businesses, it's not about me, but it's about my clients.
Yeah.
And that's really important. It's not about me waving that magic wand. What it is about is me empowering you, so
Yeah.
that okay, this is how I create my strategy. This is how I do my goals. Because there's no point working with someone if the only transformation seen is when you're actually working with them.
Yeah.
It's actually really important that you know what you need to do moving forward. It's not as sexy, it isn't, but by putting the work in and making sure all your foundations are strong, but also ensuring that you know what to do moving forward. And I think when I was creating Scale in particular, that was really important for me. It was really important that I gave my masterminders the knowledge that they needed to go forward. And as you know, I devised the program around the people in it as well. So the content I gave was the content that was relevant to those that were enrolled in the program, instead of just filling it with stuff. Which it's easy to fill a program with stuff, but that doesn't really help you. Which kind of leads me on to, as you know, Create and Scale was a blended mastermind, because my power is with working with my clients one-to-one. But at the same time, the power, I know that there is such power in a mastermind as well, because it's the support you get from your peers, but it's also the knowledge that you get from everybody collectively, as opposed to just me. So when I created Create and Scale, I really wanted a blended mastermind that would incorporate the one-to-one aspects alongside the virtual aspects and the group activities as well. So how did that benefit you? Did it work from your point of view? Was that something that was helpful?
Yes, it was indeed. Because with the group sessions, although we had, a few times where I wasn't able to, but you know what? I still appreciate the fact that I was able to just listen in and to hear what was happening, and then follow up with questions on a one-to-one with you, or send you an email, or even one of the members would just, this is what we discussed today. I know you were not in, or maybe you were not fully, there because you were doing different things at that time. So it's great because it allows that flexibility, and I can always go back as well for the group virtual sessions to do the replay, and then I'm still going through the replays, and to just basically go back. And with me, I'm very strategic, very intentional. So I like to write things down. So it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. So hearing everyone's opinion on different areas and how they're doing it, and then perhaps trying to use it for me and see if it works, or sharing something with someone else and say, what, how about trying this? To see if that works for your business. So I love all of it. The virtual group session, the one-to-one, being it maybe some things I didn't want to share in the group, but I wanted you to just have, to just get your opinion as a business coach, to hit, okay, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm struggling with. What do I need to do? So that one-to-one session was really great, and allowing me to have that intimate time with you to kind of go through some personal things and business things.
Yeah, and that was actually really important for me, because one of the things that I do with my clients is I'm aware that I'm privy to confidential and at times more emotional things that they are going through. And so I felt I was always putting myself in my client's mindset, like I always tell you to do. And it was like, do you know what? There would be some things I wouldn't want to share in a group situation. So I wanted to be able to give you that chance that actually you could reach out to me personally on Voxer outside of the group. You could book your one-to-one sessions with me. You can send things to just me if it was something you didn't want to share with the group. And I think it's worthwhile mentioning that actually one of the things with Create and Scale is we have an in-person strategy day, and Roline wasn't able to make it, but I still wanted her to be involved. So she still was available. She just wasn't in person with us. And so I sent everything to you in advance, didn't I? And then we were still talking to her. So we were all together in a hotel in London, but at the same time, we're messaging her and leaving Voxers, and she's still sharing her work with me as we were going through the workbook I got for them. So I know it wasn't quite the same as you being physically with us, but I, tried to embrace you virtually so that you felt that you were with us. And that's the other thing, because it would have been all too easy for you to say, well, I can't be with them, I'm not going to bother doing anything. But actually you didn't, did you? You set that intention, and you had a clear space. No one, you'd blocked it all out. You'd arranged your life that you were available to focus 100% on the strategy day, even though you wasn't, physically next to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember requesting the day off from work because I thought I was going to make it in person. But when that didn't work out for some unforeseen reason, I was so gutted. But like you said, I was intentional and strategic about the day. The little ones had gone to school. My husband was resting. And I said, if you do wake up, you know what? I am going to be busy. We just can stay in the room until like about 2 hours.
Yeah, and I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, and then I just sat at my kitchen counter and just basically I went through the strategy workbook, completing all my answers and sending them through to you and listening to what you had to share. And it was great. I just felt like I was still part of the day, which is so important.
Because the thing is, we all have different circumstances. I know there's the old saying, we've all got the same 24 hours in the day, was actually we don't. No. All of our circumstances are different. And I feel really strongly as a consultant, as a coach, I need to be aware of that, and I need to ensure that I am supporting my clients as much as I can. And I think it can be all too easy for people to forget that. So, we may technically have the same 24 hours a day, but we certainly don't have the same availability. But as you know, part of working with me is to make sure that you are utilizing the time that you do have personally to the best of your ability. That's going to support your growth. And that obviously was really important. What surprised you most about the mastermind?
Surprise. You know what? I will say, knowing you and who you are in the industry is the size of the group. So I was definitely hoping it to be a bit bigger than when I saw the small number. It caught me by surprise a bit. And to be honest, I loved it. I loved the fact that it was so small.
And this was actually really surprising to me as well. And I think I shared this with you all, that my original plan was to have more people than that in the mastermind. And I was half debating, can I still run it with the number that I've got? And I decided I would still run it. But what was surprising was actually that it did work. That having the small number, I felt, was actually more powerful, because I was able to give each of you more support than perhaps I could have done if we had that larger group. Which is why this time round, I've actually said I don't want any more than 6 people in it anyway. For that reason, because with my business, it's never been about getting as much money as I can from a program. It's been, does it work for me and does it work for my clients? And I felt that actually, if the group was too large, I don't know whether I would have been able to give you all support that you all deserved. So that, so it's, so I'm not surprised it was interesting for you. Definitely was interesting for me as well. And like I've said to you all, that in business, it's all about testing and adapting, isn't it? And reviewing something, what works, what doesn't work, so that you're able to tweak it next time round. And that definitely was something interesting that I discovered from it as well. And funny enough, my next question was going to be, can you talk about the intimacy of the group? So was this a benefit? And I think actually
Yeah, it was. It was really
It
good.
was.
And sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and the fact that even though it was a small group, so there was no one business repeated.
Yeah.
So you were all different businesses, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So planners, hairstylists,
Florists.
cake makers, florists. So it was all different, and I think that was really helpful as well. Which actually leads me quite neatly onto let's talk about the relationships in the group. So how did you find that?
Oh, that was really great. Because everyone welcome each other with open arms, which is fantastic. And then we embrace each other, help each other out. And actually, I haven't met or haven't communicated much with the cake baker, but the florist, which is Jennifer, Deborah J. Flowers, and then Sally here.
Yes.
I forgot her
Okay,
Instagram name.
yes.
Yes. Like we are still in contact, and Jennifer and I just created something fantastic like 3 weeks ago. So that relationship, that intimacy of the group was so important. It was so great that those relationship I feel like can just go forever and ever.
Yes. Yeah. And I have to say, I always say this, but I do think I just attract the nicest people. I really do. So, I don't attract people who are arrogant or rude. I just seem to attract really nice people. And the group, you were all just so lovely. And
That's lovely.
incredibly talented and creative, but a really lovely group. I'm very, very proud of the group. So as I said earlier, that there is no magic wand, and that there isn't the way I work, it isn't a cookie cutter approach. It's all about you finding out the strategy that really works for you, encouraging you to look outside the box and really think about what can you do for your growth in order for you to scale upwards. So how did this show up for you? Because although you are technically an event planner, you've been doing this for years, you do this in the corporate world as well. But it was quite interesting, some of the things that came up for you in terms of goals for your growth.
Yes. Well, I must say, in the mastermind, a few things has happened, and I can see it for my business in terms of the way that I think, the strategy that I put in place, and what I hope to achieve moving forward. During the shoot, during the mastermind, I started planning the shoot. Well, just before the mastermind started, I started planning this shoot, this wedding shoot, and then eventually turned out to be a workshop at the end. Although it didn't go as planned, as I wanted it with much attendees, but it still turned out to be an amazing. And I feel like being in the mastermind, learning the different strategies and learning how to basically be intentional and strategic about your business goals, about your marketing, learning who to work with as well was so important. And the relationship that I created within the group and like myself with Jennifer, she heard me during the sessions and she see how passionate I was about what I wanted to create. So she reached out to me and said, you know what, we can work together. This can be something big. And from there on, we started putting this together and planning it. So this was just as hers as it was for me because she put in so much effort. And for me, on the day, although we had a small number of attendees, it was still great to see what I had envisioned came to life and working with a fantastic team who truly believe in what I wanted to accomplish, and they all give it their all. But there are a few things that I learned along the way now based from what happened, what I need to do next, how I need to prepare myself for future workshops and future style shoot, which is so important.
Yeah, and that's all you can do in business. It's constantly sort of learning and adapting. And You have to, everyone, check out this style shoot. It was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I was so proud of both of you for what you created, but also the fact that this was a workshop as well. And I know that you have got other plans and, from a business to business, support as well. So I don't know how much you can share at the moment.
So I do offer like one-to-one social media coaching for wedding pros. So mainly it's wedding planners that have come to me about that, but I do open it to other wedding pros. So whether you're a cake baker, a photographer, so I do the one-to-one for Pinterest as well, because
Yeah.
I have helped Jennifer because she was on
That's what I was
Pinterest.
going to share. Yeah.
Yeah, she was on Pinterest
The
and
results went insane. Yeah.
yeah, she basically had well, I'm not sure what the following is now, but the views were like at zero. And
Mm.
during our, daily sessions of planning the shoot, and I was sharing what I know, and she was telling me about flowers. So I was learning about flowers. Now I'm not a pro, but I know a few things. And with just a few changes that I taught her about her bio, her boards, creating idea pens, within a week, she was in the thousands of views.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the transformation that I help with Wedding Pros. So social media and Instagram as well. I have seen the way how consistent I am, the engagement that I receive from my social Instagram, and I
Yeah.
use that to kind of help other wedding pros to be authentic, because we can just be so overwhelmed with what to post. Why am I not getting any followers, no engagement? I lost my account a few
Yes.
months back. It
Yeah.
was devastating after having to build it for so long and to just lost it like that. And I created a new one. Now the following is not much, but because of my consistency, my engagement, and the strategy that I have put in place to grow it and to be intentional about who I connect with, I'm already at 600,
Yeah.
which
And,
is
and again,
amazing.
this goes back to what I said. So, this was so frustrating for you. You were locked out of your account. So you lost your Facebook and you lost your Instagram, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you tried to get it back, but couldn't get it back. And instead of just sitting there and going and, really complaining, you were like, right, that's it. And you started a new account and then you were consistent. And so you had that positivity that, okay, there's nothing I can do about what has happened. This is what I can do to change it going forward. And you kept that consistency and that visibility as well. And you've always been good at that.
Yeah, thank you. And that you said that, I had a few comments because a few people realized that, oh, she lost her account, and then they saw a new one. There's private messaging me, Facebook or WhatsApp. It said, did you just lose your account? I said, yeah. And a few weeks later, I was receiving messages saying, wow, you are such an inspiration. You lost your account, but you didn't stop. You just continue going. And now you're coming out with bigger and bigger projects, bigger and bigger weddings, and just did an amazing proposal a week ago, which turned out so beautiful. I haven't shared any photos yet, but I will this week. And everyone is just like, you know what, you're such an inspiration, such a role model. So I'm like, and I feel like this is happening because I am in the mastermind, basically shift my mindset, my strategies, and the way that I need to move forward.
Yeah. And it can be, I mean, so easy to sink into not depression. I don't want to say that because it's a whole other story, but into being negative and to really stop your own growth. I mean, it happens all the time. Whereas if you can switch the mindset, the strategy will fall into place. You almost can't have one without the other. So you need to have that strong mindset. So that's why, as you know, I had the energy healing and we did the business review to sort of work out, okay, where are the blocks? Where do you need to work? And I remember actually that your report, you were pretty strong, weren't you, on the mindset?
Yeah, you did say, yeah, you did say that.
So which, you know, and it's true. So you have that faith, and I think that has really helped you in terms of moving forward.
Yeah.
And funny enough, you keep doing this. You're like me. So my next question was going to be, how has the mastermind helped you? So in terms of mindset or strategy, business. So I guess really from what you were saying, it's helped you really think about your goals and your strategy and moving forward.
Yes, absolutely, because it has helped me to basically have things written down, have a clear vision of where I want to be, where I want to go, the type of clients I want to work with. And I'm basically working on my website now to basically change a few things around, to really showcase exactly who I want to serve. So all of that has come through the mastermind, which is fantastic. I feel the growth, I can see the growth, and I just know in the next few months it's just going to be even bigger and better.
It is, and I can't wait to see what comes next. And I mean, that's one of the things with the mastermind as well. I mean, this is with my one-to-one clients, is I'm very hands-on.
Yeah.
So I do look at each of your businesses, don't I? And
Yeah.
look at your socials and look at your website and discuss new projects with you, because you know, I really want you to succeed as well.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. It would be really lovely if anyone wants to chat to Roline about the mastermind, or indeed want to know more about some of the social media support that she can offer, then please feel free to reach out to her. What Roline will do is, if you can leave your details in a minute, maybe in the comments, Roline.
Yes.
So then if people want to reach out to you, they can do so. So yeah, you can, you can speak to her about style shoots, social media, or indeed any questions that you have got about the mastermind as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think I just left my Instagram handle for you guys. I'm on there most of the time, and I respond to all of my messages. I'm the one behind the chat. So anytime you message me, it will always be me. And I'm active on stories a lot, so you can see my day to day, what I'm working on. So yeah, feel free at all to send me an Instagram message.
Well, it's so lovely speaking with you, Roline. Thank you for taking some time out of your
Thanks for
morning.
having me.
And I will speak with you soon.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye, everyone. So if you would like to know more about the Create and Scale Business Mastermind, then you can reach out to Roline, or indeed, of course, you can reach out to me. Doors will be closing next week. It is a 6-month mastermind. We take a little bit of a break in the summer. So this is a blended mastermind that includes one-to-one support alongside the group activities. And the content is tailored specifically to those of you that are in the mastermind. So this is for all creatives. So whether you're in the wedding industry or whether you are in the creative industry, I would love to have you come and join us. So if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me here, or indeed over on Instagram, just like Roline. That's where I hang out most of the day, so you can normally catch me there. Until the next time, speak soon. Bye.